joining us here on Zoom. This is an open forum, so feel free to drop any kind of questions, ideas in the chat, or you can also unmute yourself. This is all about collaboration. It's just a safe space for school leaders. We host these town halls every single Thursday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. If you're a repeating visitor, then welcome back. And if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. These are always free to join. The more the merrier. So spread the word if you have any Montessori administrator friends that you would like to invite, let them know, because these are always open to anyone. Today, we're going to be talking about implementing parent education resources in your Montessori school. So how you can really support families. And in the Montessori space, it's so important and vital to be offering parenting education resources for a variety of different reasons. So let's go ahead and dive into the presentation. So this is just an overview of what we're going to be covering at today's meeting. We'll do a little quick introduction and getting to know each other. We'll talk about when you can start educating families and when you can start offering resources, parent education events, so ideas for different classes or events that your school can offer, how to communicate those, how to share, and how to get the word out. We'll share a couple of parent education resources that you can offer as well. So beyond just courses, things that are like handouts or things like that. Different platforms that you can utilize for parent education. Luckily now with technology, there are so many ways that we can make parent education accessible to all families. And we'll also just share a little bit about our resource platform and our community, because there's always support if you're a school leader looking to connect with other school leaders in the Montessori space or just find support. And we'll of course have time for Q&A. As I said, this is an open forum, so I'll pause throughout the meeting to see if there's any questions or if there's room for conversation. It's very much a space for that. So first, let's get to know one another. You can unmute yourself or you can drop it in the chat, introduce yourself. What school are you joining us from and why you joined today's call? Is parent education something you're looking at improving in your community? Is there certain goals you set for yourself when it comes to parent education? I'd love to know. So I'll give everyone a moment to introduce themselves briefly. Elizabeth joining us from Bellevue. Welcome. Rathika from Bellevue as well. Welcome. Susan is joining us from Bellevue. Oh, that's awesome. Looking for ways to expand parent education and connection in the community. Okay, great. Wally's here. Welcome back, Wally. Interested in strategies to motivate parents to leverage various parenting resources. Absolutely. Tanya joining us from Gawa Montessori. We're a new school and I'm definitely looking for ways to connect better with families. Okay. So I think the common theme here is connection, and that's absolutely something that schools can achieve with good parenting education. Here's Florencia joining us from Spain. Awesome. I want to start a parent ed program in our Montessori school in Madrid and Spain. Awesome. All right, let's get started. So when does parent education begin? Really, it starts far before a family would even enroll with you. You can start planting those seeds of educating families. Usually you'll be educating them on the unique benefits of Montessori education from early on. And your goal is ultimately to have families who are very mission oriented and they align with your values at your school. Those are the parents who are really going to get the most out of Montessori. Their children are going to have a better experience because they're going to enter a partnership with your school. And those are also the parents who you're going to retain for longer, which is ultimately another goal if you're running a Montessori school. So it's important to start the parent ed journey early on in the admissions process and take opportunities from the very start in order to just build trust and educate those families. So how can you offer parent ed resources to families just starting their school search journey? Believe it or not, obviously here in Nido Marketing, we're marketers, but we in the Montessori space, we don't like the word marketing because we don't feel like it's a salesy space. But really what you can do is offer value. And this is going to take place on your school website, on your tours, every single step throughout the admissions process. So here's why we really think that content marketing and delivering that those resources from early on can be really beneficial. Firstly, when you offer resources on your website, it allows you to educate families really early in their school search journey. You want to be the person who's offering the most resources, the best resources, because oftentimes when parents are looking through school websites, they're just going to learn information about that school's program. But it's great when they can really understand the lasting benefits of your programs. You can explain and break down what sets Montessori apart from different programs. It's a great opportunity as well for you to introduce early on that Montessori isn't just a solution to a childcare need. Every parent at one point is going to need to drop their kids off while they go to work, or they need their kids to have that social interaction early on. But Montessori is so much more than that, and you can really sell them on this by providing valuable resources that explains why and how Montessori is really about building a foundation for a strong future. And you can include learning opportunities throughout your website and social platforms. So whether you have an Instagram for your school or Facebook, you can provide all sorts of resources early on that allow parents to join in and learn about the benefits of Montessori. So really good Montessori marketing means educating your prospective families. So prospective families are families who haven't even joined your community yet. So let's dive deeper into the actual strategies that you can take to start offering this parent education and resources from the very start. First, I hope that you all have a school website, but focusing on good website content is really a great way to communicate with families the benefits of Montessori. You want to be purposeful with the content that you're including on your website. Your website is your biggest marketing asset, and it's also going to be a huge tool for parents to learn more about not only your school programs, but Montessori and its benefits. Things that you might want to include: a what is Montessori page. This is going to allow parents to learn what Montessori is directly from your school. So they're not learning it from Google, they're not learning it from a blog, they're learning it from your school, and that builds trust. And it gives them a little bit of insight as to why they should be considering Montessori for their child. They're going to make a more educated decision about their child's schooling, and you've built that trust from early on. You want to be providing blogs and articles. I highly recommend having a school blog if you don't already. It's worth investing your time into. Just find a schedule that you can realistically keep up with. Even one blog a month is okay. But provide blogs that are providing value to families, addressing parenting challenges, and how Montessori can be an answer to those challenges. Things like positive discipline, things like, giving your children purposeful work in the home. All of these are great blog articles that if they come to your website and learn from you, again, they're building trust with your school, they're being more engaged with your mission and your values. And it just, when they learn it from you rather than from a blog or from a different school, it gives you that edge, whether it's for recruiting new parents or retaining them. Things like lead generators. If you don't know what a lead generator is, it's where you're providing a valuable resource to families in exchange for their email. So all the parent would have to do is click, put their email, and they'll automatically receive, whether it's a document on, 43 parenting tips, or how to make a more informed decision about picking a school for your child. And you can send them a PDF that really breaks that down. Even things like a scope and sequence or your curriculum insights, you can offer as a lead generator. And it's important to have that access to that contact information, because then you can check in with them personally and offer them more resources or invite them for a tour. Also, testimonials, believe it or not, is part of parent ed. People want to learn how other people experience your school and whether they thrived in your community or not. So it's important to be including testimonials. It's important to offer a variety of supporting information to Montessori and your programs. Why are your programs successful? Why is Montessori successful? Things like studies, success stories. Every parent is going to respond to different type of content and supporting information. So it's good to have a variety on your website. Here's just an example of how we describe our program information. You want to make sure that it's very purposeful and it's easy to digest. So this is just an example. If you want to check out our sample website, it's nidosite.com. I'll drop that in the chat as well. Nido site. We'll do a little tour of it. But it's not a real school. It's just our sample school website. And all of the content on there is very purposeful. And it's aimed to express the unique benefits of Montessori to families. So this is where their learning is going to begin. Another great thing here, this is, I think, on our What is Montessori page, either that or our homepage, and it just breaks down the Montessori approach in a very quick summary. Again, you want to make sure all of the content that you're putting out there is educational, but it's also very easily consumable. Parents are busy and most likely going through several school websites in your area to see what is going to be the right fit for their child. So by summarizing things and putting them together here, I just love this. I think this is really well put together. The Montessori approach, Maria Montessori was clearly ahead of her time, and her core principles that effective learning is self-directed and calls for the development of the whole person, uniquely prepares your child for our fast-changing world. So there, a parent is already seeing, okay, there's a little bit of, that piqued my interest. There's value here that they wouldn't be able to get in maybe a more traditional daycare setting. And then we break that down a little bit more in the next sentence. So all of these are available on Nido site. I highly recommend just taking a little browse through our sample website. Also, you want to make sure your school stands out because you're educating parents not only on Montessori, but how your school is a big part of the community and how it can really bring value to their family. So this is where you're going to make sure that you get parents aligned with your mission and connected to your school. So again, breaking down things, making it very consumable, and making it clear what you're all about is important. This is an example of the lead generator, and this is something that you can offer that's a parent ed resource that is just for prospective parents, and it's free. This one's Montessori or conventional, what's best for your family. It's a white paper, so it breaks down, the different approaches to education and which one would work best for what type of parent. And a parent would just simply put their first name and email, and they'll click that send me the white paper button, and they'll receive that automatically in their inbox. Now you have their contact information, so you can send them a check-in message or an email nurture, and they have a valuable resource that has already given them many insights about picking the right school or, is this the right choice for me? It's going to help you have more aligned families when you offer resources like this from the very beginning. This is just a sample of our blogs. Like I said before, I highly recommend having a blog section. And when you write your blogs, you want to make sure that you're writing blogs that are going to offer insights and benefits to parents. So think of frequently asked questions, think about parenting challenges. So a huge frequently asked question is, what do you mean by planes of development? What does that mean? Or why are there kids of multiple different age groups in your classroom? So these blogs address those major questions. You can also include ones like what is positive discipline, or 3 positive discipline strategies you can apply in your home today. All of these sorts of blogs are providing value and educating your community. You can include them in your newsletter. You can post them on Facebook. You can reshare them on all of your social media platforms. And just by providing those resources, you're helping to educate and connect your community. Yes, not every parent is going to read every blog, But what you can do is just put that content out there and, let parents know we have all of these resources for you. Make it known in the tour, make it known early on, remind parents, and get them on board, hopefully, to accessing this content. This is just an example of our testimonials. I highly recommend you include some testimonials on your website. I think it does tie into parent education a little bit because I think people ultimately are curious about how other people experienced it. So it's important to have that social proof on your website. Any questions so far? I just feel that your website is such a great space to take opportunities for parent education. All right, next we'll discuss parent education and social media. I hope that everyone here has at least a Facebook account, but now I think Instagram is becoming increasingly important in the Montessori space. A lot of parents are active on this platform, and it's a great space for posting parenting content and Montessori educational content. So if you're not doing that already, I highly recommend. You can do things like post about Montessori parenting. I think this is probably the most valuable and engaging content, is just offering things that people can apply in their day-to-day life that is going to allow them to understand how valuable Montessori is. Also, posting just day-to-day life of your school and giving parents insights as to what their children are doing in the classroom. Posting success stories. If you have a alumni that has, achieved a major goal or done something really great for the community or just had a great day, you can post about that. Educating families about what goes on in the classroom. So you can do things like posting about materials in your classroom. Why do we have a pink tower? What purpose does it serve? All of those posts are fun and engaging, and they give families insight as to why these materials exist and why we use them. Allow families to explore and see what Montessori is really about. You can give them a real insight on your socials. And it's also an opportunity for you to share educational videos and graphics, things like infographics, maybe things like that break down the planes of development, educational videos where parents can learn from guides, maybe a quick tip about something. All of these are ways that you can engage your family. I highly recommend including your Instagram or Facebook handles on your website and all of your business cards and brochures so parents know where to follow you and keep up with your content. And if you post great content regularly, parents are going to be more likely to pay attention to what you're posting. It's when people don't post or they post really sporadically that things tend to fall at the bottom of their feeds. So if you really want this to be a resource that parents respond to and rely on, you want to be posting regularly. And again, I'll be realistic and say that not every single parent is going to engage with you on social media. That's not necessarily the goal of having a social media profile for your school. It's more that they know that it's there, and there's going to be that one or two prospective parent who they are going to be looking, they are going to be stalking through your socials before they make a decision. So it's good to have that content out there. Another opportunity for parent education early on in the prospective parent process is email nurtures. It can also be great for retention. So for those families who you want to keep on board for longer. Email nurtures are a great and free way for you to educate families. Again, you own your email list and you can email these parents. If they're not interested, they'll unsubscribe. So don't feel like you're harassing them by sending them valuable information about Montessori and your programs. A couple of things you can do is you can send email nurtures across different programs. So if you have a parent who specifically said they're interested in elementary or primary, you can send them an email nurture about the benefits of, Montessori education for that plane of development or for that age group, and a bunch of supporting resources. The reason I also love email nurtures is because they're more personal. I think that in the Montessori space, it doesn't come across natural to use salesy language. We're an educational institution. We're here to offer a service to our community. And I think that an email is oftentimes just a personal message with resources that can offer value. You have to think about it from that perspective, because then it doesn't come across salesy. You're offering that value. And again, as I said earlier, if a parent is not interested, they'll just unsubscribe. So don't feel like you're sending them, obviously don't send them an email every day, maybe once a week, but these things can be helpful. If you're looking for templates on different email nurtures, we have so many on Montessori Thrive. We've got loads of different templates, things from that serve for retention, why you should stay that third kindergarten year, email nurtures to encourage parents to come in for a tour that also provide resources for parents to learn more about Montessori. So all of those are great. Can I skip one? Yeah. If you need educational resources to hand out families as well, we have a variety that you can offer. And these are just some ideas as well. So if you want to create your own, you're welcome to, but we have a bunch available on Montessori Thrive. I'll do a little quick tour of that. Things like Montessori Answered one-pagers. We created this series where we basically gathered all of the frequently asked questions that families would have about Montessori and put them in a short one-pager. So you can have these to hand out during tours, open houses, or just when parents come into your office asking a question, you may have a relevant one-pager that can be really helpful to them. White papers that you can offer on your website, lead generators. We also have a list of blog ideas if you want to start writing an educational blog. I wanted to quickly just go through it in our collection for those of you who are members, or just if you're not, you can get some inspiration for parenting content. We have all of our parent education content here. And here's the Montessori Answered one-pager. So here are all of the ideas that you can take with you. All of these you can download. We have them written. You can edit them if you want as well. But these are all of the different frequently asked questions that parents may have about Montessori. And it's just great to have that resource ready to hand out to them on a tour, open house, etc. We also have all of our white papers that's under marketing. So all of these are resources that you can offer families. You can attach them to emails. You can provide them during tours. You can include them on your website for parents to download for free. So again, it's not salesy if you're offering value for free. And that comes back to you, because when you are offering these resources, parents are learning about Montessori, they're making a more informed decision, and they're usually going to be more aligned with your community. So all of these resources are available to you if you're a Montessori Thrive member. If not, you can also take inspiration from them. But I think that offering these resources or just having them available can make life a lot easier for you, because you just have things to hand out to parents and they will really appreciate it. Any questions about, just providing educational resources during that prospective parent journey from the very, very start? We'll dive a little bit deeper on how you can support your current community next, but I think it's important to get parents on board before they've even signed up for your program. Do you guys have a blog on your website? Do you offer white papers or lead generators? Do you have a what is Montessori page on your website? I think if you're looking for a place to start, I would recommend with blogs. Blogs is just such a great way to create good content that's educational that you can share across platforms. You can share it in your newsletters, you can put it in your email nurtures. So I would say start there if you're looking for somewhere to start.
Yeah, I was just going to say that all those things that you went through are great, because sometimes I know when I was an admin at a school, you think parent education and you think about, oh, we have to have an evening with the parents and, kind of a big to do kind of a thing. And then will they come? But this is just, little snippets of information that you can grab and make available to parents in the moment when they have that specific question, like those one-pagers or a blog article that you can point to on your website. So I think parent education is something, it's an ongoing, all day, every day, almost kind of thing that's in the background, or not, it shouldn't be in the background, but should be an effort that's happening all the time, rather than trying to, come up with the big parent education event that we're going to have. It's all day, every day. And these are the kind of resources that can support you with that.
Absolutely. And I think a prospective parent is more likely to spend a longer amount of time on a website that is offering all of these resources and blogs than a website that just has information on their programs. So they're diving deeper on your website when you're offering these just things for free. And it's also going to be the parents who they're going to spend that time on your website. And when they do join your community, they're going to be more excited because they learned so much from you from early on. I see here, Vicki, we're currently working on launching our new website with Nido Marketing and are excited about having access to these resources. Awesome, Vicki. And we hope that you check out our Montessori Thrive library because there's loads of stuff in there for parenting. We'll talk more about it in a bit as well. All right, so let's talk about parent education events. This is all about bringing your community together. This is more for your current community, although I would recommend to invite prospective parents to a few of your parenting events as well, or leave it open to people who are maybe on your email list and invite them as well. Events can be a great way for you to connect your current community and your prospective community and get them on board with your mission and your vision as a school. So parent ed events, this is probably what we think about the most when we think about parent education, and we're thinking about what we're planning, how we can provide classes, how we can get parents to show up. And it's these events that are probably going to be the thing that sticks out most to families, what's going to resonate with them, what they're going to remember the most in terms of parenting support from your community. It's a great way to get parents involved in learning. You want to make sure to plan events throughout the year at different times. Try to think about what points of the year people are the least busy. I know that's difficult nowadays because everyone has different schedules. Also think about what's the least busy time for your school and give yourself some peace as well. But you want to make sure that you have different events throughout the year so that if a parent can't show up to one, maybe they can show up to another. Think about what will allow them to really see the benefits. I know a lot of schools do things like the silent journey, things like this are great, or just invite parents in for observation. And I think that's really great because they see, wow, this is what my child is experiencing in your classroom. And that's really beneficial. But also you should consider some events on what parents can apply at home. So yes, you may want to invite them over for a silent journey presentation, or perhaps to give them a little introduction into the Montessori philosophy, but also how can you apply Montessori in parenting? What kind of verbiage do we use in the classroom? How do we speak to children? How do we show them respect? How can you do this at home? How can you give them purposeful work at home? So you want to be strategic with the content that you're sharing and planning. You also want to come up with ways to make these events accessible. I think nowadays, many families, they have 2 working parents. So people are busy and it's sometimes hard to come to these events. So you can be creative in creating ways to make them more accessible. A good option is maybe providing childcare. So maybe opening up your home environment rooms or just a classroom for parents to come drop their kids off while they come in and join your parenting session. You can also offer online. I highly recommend considering using Zoom as a platform. Nowadays, people are used to using Zoom, and you can really do a lot with it. You can put together a great presentation and lead it and make it interactive. Parents can utilize the chat. You can run polls and surveys. So it's great. And also offering things after working hours. Obviously, there's some parents who have different working hours. They may not work a 9 to 5, but trying your best to make them as accessible as possible. I think a benefit of offering a virtual event is that you can also record that event, and you can send that out in a newsletter, or you can post it on your Facebook group so that people can view it later. So just think about accessibility, especially if you're noticing people are dodging your events or not showing up. I think this is a common complaint, and I hear a lot from schools. We put so much time and energy into planning our events, but then parents don't show up. And that's frustrating. And it's usually the parents that you want to show up that don't. So I think the best thing you can do is try to make them accessible and accept the fact that there's never going to be 100% attendance, although maybe you're very lucky and that's the case, and that's great if it is. But just try to make it, try to stress the importance of coming to these classes from early on, from the tours, from the enrollment process. We really want you guys to come to these classes because it's so much better when the child is receiving similar messages at school and at home. We've noticed a difference in those children who have parents who come to our courses. These children are so much more independent. They're able to really thrive in our environments because they're receiving similar messages at home, and it's really about a partnership. So what you can do is express that from early on. Any questions or comments so far?
Mila?
Yes?
Some well-established schools in the country, big schools, they basically have a weekend of Montessori orientation for prospective parents who are enrolling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a condition for them to attend,
Mm-hmm.
for them to enroll. Now, every school is not in this luxury where they can really impose that, but some of them do, which I think is quite helpful, because then there's a full education about what they're getting into, what the child is getting into. It's a great way to start.
I think, if that's something that you can offer your community, you should definitely consider it, because it is so worth it to have parents who really understand the work that you're doing. Those are the parents who it's going to come back to you because they're going to be retained in your community for longer. Those are the parents who are going to understand why their children need to be there 3 years and not just until kindergarten, or why they should continue on with Montessori. So if it's something that you can do and make it mandatory, why not? Again, you can kind of advertise it as, this is something that we provide to all families at no additional cost, because we feel so strongly about having parents who have access to resources and support from us. We are entering a partnership. I think in our Montessori Thrive collection, we have a couple of different school parent commitment forms or agreements about involvement in parent education classes or just in school life. I highly recommend taking a look at that or considering doing something like that if attendance is becoming a problem at these events. And so parents just really know they can sign a physical document. Obviously, it's not a binding contract, but I think it has an impact when parents are saying, yes, I'll agree to come to the parenting classes, to ask questions, to be involved. So that's something to maybe consider if attendance is becoming an issue.
Yeah, and I was also going to say that if you can have a little bit, set aside some time at these events just for social time, so the parents can be social with each other, I think that would be helpful too, because it helps build community. And if they know I'm going to see, my friends are going to be there or whatever, it makes it a little more appealing. And, if they're saying, are you going to go? Yeah, I'm going to go. Let's go. That kind of a thing. I think it just helps in getting with attendance. So.
Absolutely. All right. I want to talk about the tour, because I think your initial school tours are such a great opportunity for providing parenting resources. I put it under an event because I really do think that every tour is a little bit of an event, at least it is for the parent. And you can really do a lot here to set the tone and to provide parenting resources. So let's go through this. So firstly, you can really help every parent understand what they are observing in the classrooms. We have this resource in our collection that's called an observation checklist. I highly recommend you either downloading it if you have access to it or creating one of your own. But it's just a list of everything that a parent should be on the lookout for when they're on a tour. Because again, maybe that parent doesn't really know that much about Montessori, or they might have misconceptions about what it is. And on that tour, it's your opportunity to break those misconceptions and to allow them to see Montessori for what it really is in your environments. So this observation checklist can include things like, oh, our practical life shelves. Why do we have this? Why are children sweeping in our classroom? Why is this educational? Why does this serve a purpose? They can go through that list during the tour and really understand everything that you're doing to provide value to the children in your classrooms. You can also provide a variety of resources on the success of Montessori. You can put together a packet that has a bunch of different articles or, supporting documents about why Montessori is so successful, why it works in day-to-day life as well for children. Why does it create children that are confident, that are independent, who will thrive in other school environments as well? That's a big concern for parents. What's after Montessori? So you can have some resources ready for those parents who are really interested in that type of content. This is also your opportunity to really, in a personal way, introduce the Montessori philosophy and answer those one-on-one questions. And it's also your opportunity to set expectations. Again, as we said earlier, Montessori is a partnership. We want parents who are, going to be involved in doing the most to make sure their child has a great experience in school and at home. It's not just a daycare where you can drop off your kids and you pick them up at 5 and everything else is disconnected. We very much want families who are involved and who, will access our resources because we put a lot of work into providing them and making sure that you have access to them. And finally, Montessori is a way of life. Your school is going to provide those resources so that children and parents can thrive. You don't just support the children, you support the parents. You can talk about every single type of course that you offer for free for parents at your school. And I think that will really interest parents who are looking for that support, who are looking for that additional parent education. So take advantage of making your tour a special experience. Any questions? Anyone do anything in their tour that they think has really been helpful to families?
Can I just jump in? Sorry, I came in late. So I think it's always helpful to ask questions about the child. You may have covered that already, but just to hear about, my parents love to talk about their children, but just to hear a little bit about what it sort of opens them up. So I've just found that to be helpful too.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity for you to get to know them as much as it is for them to get to know you. So making that a personal connection moment and asking them about, what are they looking for? Because you want mission aligned people, or you want people who are going to thrive in your community. Next is open houses. I think open houses are also an opportunity for you to continue educating families. This might even be the first time they're stepping foot in your school. So you can really go all out and introduce all sorts of things about Montessori to families. I recommend, providing value early on and offering them a real good introduction to Montessori in your own community. Have those, flyers ready. So maybe on your open house, you have a table with, all the Montessori answered one-pagers. You have a little introduction booklet, what is Montessori? What are the planes of development? Why do we have multi-age groupings? You can have a little packet put together with all that content. So they walk away from it. And again, they've learned it from you. They didn't learn it from Google. They didn't learn it from another school. They learned it from you. So it just makes you so much more trustworthy. It makes you look like a real authority on the subject. So it's an advantage there. You can show how Montessori has worked for others. I highly recommend having ambassadors at your open house, whether they're parents or alumni who are there maybe helping giving out the packets or resources and are able to share their experience and story and how they were able to thrive in your community. If you're just starting out, maybe this isn't an option because you don't have ambassadors yet, But if you've been around for a while, this is something that you can do. And if you have a couple of happy parents in the future, you can always invite them on board. What do families experience when they commit to Montessori? What is the value long term? A lot of parents are thinking long term nowadays. I think we're just an anxious generation, and we want to learn how things are going to serve us far beyond the years in the classroom. So you can talk about that as well in your open houses. Here, Vicky says, parent ambassadors have been great. They also reaffirm their own choice in Montessori when they serve in this role. Absolutely. And those are parents who are living your mission. They are thriving in your community. They're happy to share their story. They're going to continue to thrive in your community, and they're going to be the ones who ultimately help you recruit those new families who will hopefully take their place in the future. What can a parent expect when they join your community? And in your open house, you can talk about, you can have like a little table of parenting resources that we offer. You know, this isn't just a place for your child to thrive. This is a place for parents to thrive as well. You can offer an insight of, you know, here's our parent event calendar. This is what we offer. We offer free courses for families. We make them virtual, we make them accessible, or we have in-person events, socials that you can join so that you don't feel alone when it comes to your parenting. You have other people you can connect with who are on the same boat. And you can talk about this early on in your open houses. And again, handing out those resources that are going to help families. I highly recommend having a few things printed out, or maybe you have a QR code that parents can scan and they can access all sorts of PDFs that they can, you know, review when they have the time. But again, when they get access to this information and these resources from your school, it establishes you as a thought leader and it builds that trust early on. Parenting courses, I think this is probably the meat of our parenting education goals here as a school. I think every school is looking to host parenting courses, or wants to, or already does. It's just a way that you can really connect with parents face to face about Montessori. I really think that if you have the time and resources to be offering parenting courses, you should. Parenting nights should really focus on what Montessori is, as well as how Montessori can be brought into the home. I touched upon this earlier. You want to provide value on how families can apply Montessori themselves, because they're not going to build a whole Montessori classroom in their home. And even if they did, that's not what we mean by Montessori at home. How can they actually practically use those strategies in day-to-day life? Always provide parents with additional resources that they can use. Have a printout, or maybe you create a really good parent handbook that has a little summary of each of the courses that you offer throughout the year, and they can come in and take notes. Answer questions. I always recommend having time for Q&A. And you can also host little anonymous Q&A sessions, or you can ask, you know, if you have a question that you don't want to be asked publicly, maybe it's something that's a little bit more embarrassing, but you still want to find a solution for it. You can, you know, email us and we'll answer it privately for you. Have those means of communications open. Make these events accessible. Again, consider doing a virtual format for a couple of your sessions. It's just a great way to help parents who may not be able to come in person. And come up with fun and unique ways to get families involved, and accept that not every parent is going to be involved. We've talked about this. I can't remember what school that had the idea, but just find creative ways to remind parents about your parenting classes. Because how many times do parents say, oh, I forgot, or oh my gosh, I completely forgot that was tonight, or I missed that yesterday. There was a school that every time they had a parenting event, they would just have all of their teachers wear really brightly colored shirts during carpool, and that would say, you know, ask me about tonight's parenting class, or you can hand out flyers, just something to remind parents, because sometimes they just need a gentle reminder. And they may not check their email, they may not check social media. So just get creative if you really want your community involved. I see here in the chat, Florencia, has it been your experience that many families would rather see the replay rather than participate in the event and contribute to the conversation? I think realistically that happens if you promote the event too much, that, oh, you can just watch the recording later. I think though, if you're gonna do a virtual event and be recording it, I would really try to express the value of coming when it's live. Say, if you can make the live, we really encourage attendance because these sessions are so much more valuable when you can ask practical questions. And they're a huge chunk of it is Q&A. So that can be an angle if you don't want people to just watch the recording. I don't know if other schools have experienced this issue. They offer virtual parenting classes. I know for the ones that, because we host parenting classes on Thrive, and usually we'll have 100 registered and then 40 show up, and then other people watch the recording. So you want to make sure you promote it as it's valuable to come to the live. Thank you, Gray. Okay. All right, here are just some examples of parenting courses I think are helpful, because I think, while it's great to offer those things like the silent journey and stuff like that, you really want to be offering some that parents are going to show up to. And usually the way to do that is to actually address common parenting issues, things that are affecting them in a negative way in their day-to-day life. A huge one is tantrums. I think whenever we host a parenting session about tantrums, it usually has the highest attendance, because that's one of the least pleasant parts about parenting is having a tantrum. I don't think anyone enjoys that. So if you have a session that, really expresses to parents, why do children experience tantrums? Why can't they regulate themselves? How can you respond? How can you have the right mindset? What do we do in the classroom when a child is having a tantrum? So these types of sessions are providing value to families who can really put it to practice. Things like positive discipline. I think a lot of parents are becoming more aware of that term, and it ties in very closely to Montessori philosophy. The prepared adult. How can you as a parent be prepared for your child? How can you do that? Why do we use that term in Montessori? Things like Montessori at home. How can you build a Montessori home environment? It's not about trying to spend thousands of dollars to copy a Pinterest board or build a Montessori classroom in your house. Let's talk about the practical ways that every parent can do it. So these are the courses I recommend offering. There's loads of ideas out there. If you have any, feel free to drop them in the chat. We also have a lot of these courses, the slides on Montessori Thrive. So if you're a Montessori Thrive member, you can download the slides and just present them. So it takes a little bit of time sometimes to put those together. Again, yeah, this is what I meant. Do you need parenting courses? So oftentimes you'll need to put together a slideshow presentation or have something to lead the conversation. So we have a bunch of those templates available for you on Montessori Thrive that you can edit. I see here in the chat. Megan, we have a great success with having on-time positive discipline support groups. Oh, wow, this is great. A 6-week or so series once a week. The idea is to read a chapter of the original book each week and talk about it, but really the focus ends up sharing challenges and brainstorming support. Absolutely. And having a book club like that, where you read a chapter on a parenting book and then discuss it, it builds community because parents are able to talk to one another about what they've learned, how they've applied it. And again, that's how they're living Montessori outside the environment. So I think that's great. So yeah, as I said, if you need any parenting course slides, we have a bunch. We have positive discipline ones. We have this one, Montessori 101, which is just an introduction to Montessori principles. So you can download them in our collection. Here, Megan added, through Zoom, it's worked well. Great community building. Parents end up saying they appreciate not feeling alone in their parenting struggles. I think that doing a book club in a Zoom session is a great way to encourage attendance, because you wouldn't watch the recording of that. You would want to go in person and exchange ideas with parents. So I think that's a great one to host on a virtual platform. Parent socials, I know Camille mentioned this, but creating those opportunities for social interaction is important, because when parents feel that they are connected with other families, they feel more empowered to join in on these courses, to come back, to keep learning. So create some opportunities. I know it was hard during COVID when we couldn't have these in-person events, but now we're back and we can have these types of events. I see here, Susan, we have used Montessori Toddler too, and it was successful. Awesome. So yeah, just like Megan said, like having book clubs, a parenting book club is great. That's again, content you don't even have to put together. If you just create a space to bring parents together and you tell them, here's the book to get. Maybe you have a couple copies at your school that you buy over the years and you can just lend them out. And then you just encourage those parents to come in every week for 6 weeks and discuss how they've applied these principles, what have they learned from the chapter, offer your own insights, and you can have, a guide lead the conversation, and then parents, give their opinions and thoughts. Things like coffee meetups or social like potlucks, fairs and festivals, all of these things can create opportunities for parent education and connectivity. Again, when parents feel that they have friends in your community, they'll be more likely to come up to your courses and just be more involved in school life. You can also set up parent committees for families who really enjoy being involved. Usually we can sense these people out, and they can help you plan, they can help you organize different parenting events and resources. So it's great. I asked here, what other social events do you host in your community? If you have any ideas to add. I see here in the chat. Pre-COVID, we had a very successful coffee cut and chat. Parents came to help with material prep for about an hour once a week. They would laminate, cut, etc. This is great. And then you get them to make some materials for your school as well. And they feel that they've given back to your community. So again, it really helps with mission aligning. Florencia, 2 fundraisers for the whole school community, parents and children. Yep. Again, parents are going to be so much more hesitant to leave your school community when they feel like, wow, my kids are really thriving here. They have friends. I have friends. I'm making the most of these resources that are being offered. So there's a lot of benefits. This is more for retention. Moving up nights are great as well for those parents who are about to go through a transition. So maybe they're finishing up their kindergarten year and, they're saying, am I going to continue on with lower elementary? You can have evenings that are dedicated more to educating parents about the benefits of staying in Montessori in the transition process. You can invite student ambassadors or parent ambassadors to these nights so they can answer questions for parents who might be about to experience that transition. Provide families with packets of information about what they can expect from this upcoming chapter. What happened if a family chooses to leave? Not every family is going to stay on for your next program. So you can offer some resources to help the transition, to help make that easier. And parents will appreciate that. And when they see how well their child is able to transition, how advanced they'll be after Montessori, I'm sure they'll go around and spread good word of mouth about your school, which will come back to you. So Susan says here, our parent association plans parent meetups on the weekends. We have parent coffees every couple of months. That's great, because then you have an established parent leader. You can kind of keep your hands off, and that they're engaging with one another, and they're being more intertwined with your Montessori community when they just interact with one another. So it's super beneficial. Also here, bonus, offer free childcare on these nights as well. I mentioned that. Just find ways to make every event accessible if you can. These are just some examples of parent education calendars. This is actually from Hollis. We're at Camille School. And these are great because it just kind of breaks down every event that a parent can expect throughout the year. I know that here they have like a Montessori film series. I think this is great because, again, it's content that you don't really have to put together. You're showing a film and then you're discussing it together as a group and you're exchanging ideas and thoughts on it. I think it's great. And then here are the parent programs. So I think when you have everything like this laid out, you can post this on your website, or you can just give it to parents in the handbook, or when they start out the year, they can pick, maybe they may not make it to every event, but they can mark on their calendar, oh, I've got to go to this one. I really think this one will be super valuable to me. So it allows them to just plan ahead. So I recommend breaking things down if you can. It's just a sample I wanted to include. Are there any events or courses that have been beneficial to your school community? I know we've had some great ones shared already, but if there's any classes that you've offered that have just been very great for your parent community, or they've come back with great feedback, I'd love to know.
Sometimes Sorry.
Go ahead, Wally.
I was saying that sometime in the past, something that was quite popular was something called Silent Journey.
The
Where
silent journey.
they would have the parents come in and they go through it and also basically practice certain things. But it did basically take a whole day on a weekend. But I'm not sure if I don't hear much of it anymore. I'm wondering if that's kind of faded away or not. But a lot of the schools used to do that and like the process.
I think a lot of schools still do that. I don't know. I hear
It's
quite a few.
actually the woman who originally created that idea has trademarked it, I believe. And so I don't know the details of this, and I'm probably misspeaking a little bit about it, but now you are supposed to work through them and have them help you facilitate that type of event. And yeah, typically I know when we did it, it was like a Friday night and a Saturday morning, I think.
Right.
And the
Right.
Friday night was silent, going through the classrooms, and the Saturday was more discussing what you observed. So I know that I'll find the organization now that sort of manages that, but it doesn't mean that. Certainly I think you could have a similar event and just, you're not supposed to call it the Silent Journey or the Montessori Journey anymore. You'd have to come up with another name for it.
Let us know.
Oh, right here, we have some.
Megan said Jody Malter is an excellent trainer for positive discipline. We've had her come up for parent education and staff training, very valuable. That's great. Florencia said it here. Yes, I was going to say that Silent Journey and Discovery is life changing, but very few families can come or end up coming. And it's a lot of work for the staff. It's typically for only 10 families at our school. Okay. And I do believe it has been recently trademarked. I'm not 100% sure on the details of that either. Susan says here, we have a sleep workshop, speech pathology talk, a biting workshop. I like, that's a good one. Toilet learning, Montessori in the home, all very popular. Florencia asks, what is a sleep workshop?
So we have very young children. We don't have elementary or above. So a lot of we have a lot of parents with babies and toddlers, and of course they don't always sleep through the night. So it's kind of trying to help establish sleep patterns. We also, I didn't mention this, we also do a food one too, like when to introduce certain foods and how to help with healthy eating habits and things like that. Biting is biting and other unwanted behaviors. So how to prevent biting, why do children bite? What is the reason why? We have one for teachers and also one for parents. And then the speech talk is just what types of speech are there in young children, and how do you help children foster speech, and then also what are the red flags? When should you be worried, and what is kind of normal progression of speech? And you know what Montessori in the home is already, in toilet learning. We call it toilet learning instead of potty training, but same thing.
Those are all great because, again, they offer insights as to things that parents really want to know. So I think those are great topics. Awesome. Just some additional resources that you can add if you're really looking to expand and be creative. I just made a list here. You can include like a book list of parenting books that are helpful, parenting videos. You can create a podcast, or you can just share podcast links as well. You don't have to create your own podcast. Again, blog articles, writing good newsletters, posting on your social media, and having a parent handbook that has a couple of additional resources. Here, Megan put the link to Silent Journey. Thank you. So if you want to learn more about, I guess, what that process is. Susan Cambridge, what blogs do you recommend?
Ours.
Our blogs. We do, if you're curious, at Nido Marketing, we do have a content service where we write blogs for Montessori schools. It's one a week. So if you're not looking to write your own blogs, we can do that for you. If you're looking to share blogs that are out there already, There's one by Simone Davies, although I think it's mostly for the toddler and primary. That's great podcast. Yes, look up Simone Davies. She mostly does toddler primary. She has great ones. I think it's called the Montessori Journal or Montessori Diary, something like that. But those are really, really great. I think she's AMI. So a lot of her stuff is going to be more aligned with that, but I think AMI and AMS have a lot of similarities in terms of how they recommend things to parents and things like positive discipline. So if you're looking for recommendations, I think also on Montessori Thrive, I have a whole document that has links to blogs and podcasts that are good to share with families. And most of them are free. Most of the podcasts are free. So you can just link them on your website or share or include them in a newsletter or post them on social media. If anyone has any other good recommendations, feel free to share in the chat. Also, another thing you can do is always look to improve. You can run surveys to ask families, do you feel supported? Do you feel like we can improve on our courses? Is there a course you'd like to see in the future? I recommend checking in with your families. If you're seeing a really frequently asked question, maybe you can turn it into a course for the future. If a lot of parents are asking you about, oh, what about screen time? What activities do I do instead? Maybe you can have a course on that. So always be out there surveying and seeing what your community really needs. Again, all of our resources are available on Montessori Thrive. We also have our leadership forum and our Facebook group. So if you have any questions, you can ask in our Facebook group or on our private forum. Feel free to post, exchange, share resources. Here, Camille said, here's a page on our template website with resources for parents. Yeah, check out Nido site. We also have a YouTube channel where we post all sorts of tips on marketing and communicating with parents, the benefits of Montessori. So that's Nido Marketing's YouTube channel. And all of our town halls are posted on there too. So if you want to watch this recording back, we'll be posting that later today. And we also have our Montessori parenting series going on. So at Montessori Thrive, we host a virtual parenting series every October and February. We're currently right in the middle of it. So our next session is on Wednesday night. We're going to be talking about the prepared adult with Heather Pratt-White. So we hope to see your parent community there if you're a Montessori Thrive member school. So far we've had 2 great sessions. So we look forward to the next 2. All right, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screens. If anyone has any additional questions, feel free to unmute yourself or post them in the chat. I'm also going to drop my email. If anyone has ideas for a future town hall, feel free to message me because I plan these around popular requests. Vicky says, thank you so much. This is a great information. Thank you so much for joining our call, Vicky. I'm glad this was helpful, and definitely take some time to explore our resources. And again, our resource collection, you can always request a resource too. If there's something that you don't see, just submit a request and we'll see if someone else has it or we'll create it. All right, next week, we're going to be joined by, let me see, Kristen, sorry. I have to pull up the name. There's so many speakers that have spoken at our town halls before. Let me see. Oh, I cannot find it. Well, her name is Kristen, and she's going to be talking about really aligning your personal leadership as an administrator, your goals with the missions of your school, how you can find your purpose as a leader. She is a Montessorian and a Montessori administration coach. So she'll be offering her insights. It'll also be free to join. So you can come in, share your ideas, your experiences as a leader, your goals. We look forward to a good conversation. So that's going to be our topic next Thursday. We look forward to seeing you.
It's Kristen Kozinski.
There we go.
Making your mission and vision come to life is the
There
title.
we go. Thank you, Camille. So that's our topic for next week. So hopefully we'll see you back. This recording, as I said, will be posted on YouTube. So if you missed any of it, you can watch it back or take notes whenever you have free time. All right. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Take care.